Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? In this short video, I'm going to answer the exercise that I assigned to you last week, which is about models. As you can see, and as I told you, you need to download this document in order to be able to see the given options, okay, like we have here, okay? Otherwise, if you work on your mobile phone, this wouldn't be possible. So let's take the first one. There are plenty of tomatoes in the fridge. You mustn't buy any, needn't buy any, may not buy any, or should not buy any, okay? The first one, okay, that I would like to disregard is mustn't. Okay, there is no obligation right here. There is no prohibition. Okay, so that's why I would disregard this one right away. So I'm left with needn't, may not, and should not. Do you think that the person here is talking about possibility, lack of obligation, or advice, giving advice? I don't think that this sentence is about giving advice. It is about lack of obligation. So the right answer is you needn't buy any. Second one, it's a hospital. You mustn't smoke, needn't smoke, may not smoke, don't have to smoke. So right here we have mustn't, which is a kind of prohibition, needn't, lack of obligation, may not, prohibition, but in a polite way, don't have to, lack of obligation. I think, yes, you got it right. This is prohibition because we're talking about law and regulations of a public facility, which is a hospital. So the right answer is you mustn't. Third sentence, he had been working for more than 12 hours. He be tired. So we have here like a piece of information that would lead us to think about another action or another result, if you want. He had been working for more than 12 hours. So as a consequence, okay, he is tired. But am I sure about it? Yes, because this person has been working for long hours, 12 hours. That's too much for a human being. So the answer is must be tired. And right here, this is not obligation, but this is rather certainty. He preferred to get some rest. He may prefer, he should prefer, he must prefer, he had better prefer to get some rest. The right answer is may. Because if I choose, for instance, should, then I would say he should get some rest. But since we have here the verb prefer, we need to think of another one, which is may. He may prefer to get some rest, which is about a possibility or probability. Number 4. I could, might, can, must speak Arabic fluently when I was a child. Okay, so right here we have a statement in which tense it is in the simple past, as we have right here, was, a verb to be in the simple past. So can I use can? Of course not. And must? Of course not. Okay, because we're talking in the past. We're talking about a past action. So the options that we have here are could or might. Right here, what function are we talking about here? It is possibility or ability. That's why we're going to choose could. And we lived in Morocco, but after we moved to Canada, I had very little exposure to the language and forgot almost everything I knew as a child now. Now I may, can, must, need, just say few things in the language. So the first one that I would disregard completely or omit from the options is must. Okay, there is no obligation here, and there is no certainty. Okay, so the options that we're left with are may, just, or may, can, or need. The right answer is I can just say a few things in the language. Somebody would say, sir, okay, how about may? Don't you think that it is correct? I would accept that if the person is not sure that he can do well speaking Arabic. So he doesn't think that he is capable of producing uh, sound or long sentences in Arabic. So, but the one, okay, that I would accept is can. The teacher said we read this book for our own pleasure, as it is optional. The word optional here is a key word. The teacher said we can read, we needn't, and we must, and we should. Since we're speaking about something optional here, so must is not a good option, is not the right option. Okay, so we would need to drop it from our options. Okay, the one that we're left with are can, needn't, lack of obligation, and should. But right here, the teacher wouldn't say that this is you are not obliged. Okay, the teacher actually encourages the students to read. So that's why I would go for can. We can read this book for our own pleasure. Okay, as it is optional. But we read it if we don't want to. Okay, if supposing that Ahmed, who is a student, doesn't want to read that book, so he doesn't have to read it, okay, or he needn't, but we needn't read it if we don't want to. Number 6. You stand on your head for more than a minute. The answer is no, I. Okay, so standing on someone's head or doing this kind of acrobatic movement is something that not everybody can do. So right here, I'm asking about the ability, capability. I would go for can. Can you stand on your head? Okay, no, I can't. Why would I say can't and not may not? Because in the question we have can, so it would be appropriate to answer with can't. If you want to learn to speak English fluently, so this is a kind of advice. You could to work hard, you need to work hard, you needn't to work hard, or you mustn't. Okay, so right here the person is giving advice, is giving like tips on how to speak English fluently. So the first one that I would disregard is mustn't. Okay, don't think about it at all. Okay, needn't, lack of obligation. No, the sentence is not about lack of obligation. So I am left with could or need. I would go for you need, which is the equivalent of you should or you ought to. Take an umbrella. It need, rain later, should, mustn't, and might. One modal that I should disregard right away without thinking is need. Because need is always followed by the infinitive to, need to. Since we don't have to right here, okay, I would go for the other options. It should rain, it mustn't rain, it might rain. So what is the right answer in your opinion? If you say mustn't, then this is like a prohibition, okay? And we are not talking about prohibition here, we're talking about probability. So the right answer is might. I think it would rain, but I am not sure about it at all. You shouldn't leave, need leave, needn't leave, may not leave objects laying around. Okay, so this is a kind of advice. Okay, so you shouldn't leave, needn't, okay, feels like this is a kind of lack of obligation, which is not right in our in this context. Such objects be swallowed by children. Do you think that the children will swallow it 100% if they find it? No. Is it still possible? Is it still a probability? Yes. So we're talking about probability, okay? That's why we're going to go for may. May be swallowed by children. To swallow something means, okay, when you put something in your mouth, okay, and you swallow it, okay, you let it go through your throat without chewing it, okay? People couldn't walk on grass. I think we have seen this example in the classroom sometime this year. Okay, people couldn't, needn't, mustn't, or may not. Okay, I would go for mustn't. This is prohibition. But if you choose to go for may not, that's also possible if you want to make it like a polite way of expressing prohibition. Okay, so people mustn't, okay, walk on the ground. This is my number one option. But if you go for may not, that's also possible. I can accept that. Drivers stop when the traffic lights are red. Now, when we're talking about red lights, when we're talking about traffic, meaning the movement of cars and vehicles on the public road, okay, we're talking about regulations, we're talking about roads. And these roads are governed by law. Must stop when the traffic lights are red. There is no discussion about it. May I ask a question? Must I ask a question? Should I ask a question? Will I ask a question? Of course, I think you would say may. And the may is the equivalent of can, except that may is more polite, more formal if you want. It is not raining. You couldn't, needn't, mustn't, or may not. Okay, I would disregard mustn't right away because there is no prohibition in this context. Now I'm left with couldn't, needn't, may not, and right here it is not raining. This is like a datum that makes me think that taking an umbrella is not necessary. So I would say lack of obligation, you needn't. Lack of obligation, you needn't take your umbrella. It's not raining. Okay. Next one. I think this one is easy. Need you, can you, should you, may you, of course. Okay, can you? I'm talking about ability. No, I can't. Okay. Somebody would ask me, teacher, what if I say I may not? Okay, no. Right here we're talking about ability. Okay, and this person has the one of the options given right here is can't. So go for it for the safest option. Okay, which is can't. Well, this is it for today. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.